Your dress remembers what she fought for.
Aisha said it like a warning. I didn't understand. I unzipped the garment bag. My wedding dress, the one I'd picked alone, paid for alone, had been opened. The lining was torn. 3 blue ribbons were knotted inside, tight and uneven. My mother's work. I knew her stitches. 12 days until my wedding, and she was still trying to control me. A crumpled note fell from the fabric. Her handwriting, shaky, wrong. Tuesday, don't forget, Naomi's waistline. Why would she write that to herself?
Before we begin, please subscribe and like. It really helps. Wishing you health and happiness. Alright, let's begin.
Chapter 2: The Toxic Checklist. The group chat was called Naomi's Big Day. 23 people, vendors, bridesmaids, Mateo's sisters. My mother was member number 4. I removed her at 1147 p.m. My thumb hovered over the confirm button. 3 years ago, I would have cried. Now I felt nothing but relief. Done? Mateo asked from the bed. Done. He set down his book. How do you feel? I waited for guilt. It didn't come. Free, I said. I feel free. Mateo smiled. Good. She was stressing you out. Now you can actually enjoy your own wedding. He made it sound so simple. Cut the toxic person. Move on. Breathe. I believed him. The next morning, I made a list. Not on paper. In my head. Every moment my mother had ruined. My college graduation. She complained about the parking for 40 minutes. My first apartment. She said the neighborhood would kill me within a year. My engagement dinner. She told Mateo's parents that I always picked the wrong men. And now my wedding dress. Torn open. Ribbons shoved inside like some kind of claim. This is mine, the ribbons seemed to say. You can't have anything without me. I added her to my mental list of things to leave behind. The shared wedding folder was next. Google Drive. 57 files. Venue contracts, catering menus, flower arrangements. My mother had access to all of it. I clicked remove. A pop-up asked if I was sure. I clicked yes. Then I changed the password. Mateo watched me from the kitchen. Want me to tell my mom to stop inviting her to things? Not yet, I said. Let her figure it out on her own. It felt cruel. It also felt necessary. I didn't hear from her for 3 days. No calls, no texts, no showing up at my apartment with food I didn't ask for. Silence. It should have felt like victory. Instead, it felt like waiting. On day 4, I drove past her shop, Parks Alterations. The same faded sign she'd had for 30 years. The same sewing machine in the window. I didn't stop, but I slowed down. The lights were on. She was inside, bent over something, working late, like always. For a second, I almost felt bad. Then I remembered the dress, the torn lining, the ribbons tied without my permission. I drove faster. Mateo noticed the change in me. You're lighter, he said that weekend. We were picking napkin colors, cream or ivory, a meaningless choice that somehow mattered. Lighter how? Less tense. You're not checking your phone every 5 minutes. He was right. I hadn't realized how much energy I spent waiting for her next attack, her next criticism, her next suggestion that was really a demand. Maybe this is what normal feels like, I said. Mateo kissed my forehead. You deserve normal. I wanted to believe him. The call came on day 6, not from my mother, from the bridal shop. Ms. Park? This is Aisha from Evelyn's Bridal. We have a situation. My stomach dropped. What kind of situation? Your dress was picked up yesterday, but you weren't the one who picked it up. I gripped the phone. Who did? A pause. Papers shuffling. The signature says Leah Park. She listed herself as your mother. The room tilted. Of course she couldn't just let me go. She stole my dress. She said she was taking it for alterations. She had the original receipt. We didn't know. I hung up. My hands were shaking. Not from fear, from rage. She had found a way back in. Even after I'd locked every door, she had found a window. She had taken the one thing that was supposed to be mine alone. I called Mateo. He answered on the first ring. She took my dress, I said. My voice cracked. She actually stole my wedding dress. I'm coming home. We drove to her shop together. Matteo wanted to go alone. Let me handle it, he said. You don't need more stress. But I needed to see her face. I needed to watch her explain this. The shop was dark when we arrived. Closed sign in the window. But the back light was on. I banged on the door. No answer. Mom, I shouted. I know you're in there. Nothing. Matteo tried the handle. Locked. We stood there in the cold. My breath made clouds in the air. My wedding dress was somewhere inside that building, held hostage by a woman who couldn't let me grow up. We'll come back tomorrow, Matteo said. With the police if we have to. I nodded, but I didn't move, because that's when I saw it. On the doorstep, partially hidden by the welcome mat, a garment bag, white, long, my dress. I picked it up with shaking hands, unzipped it just enough to see the fabric inside. Ivory silk, vintage lace, the same dress I'd chosen, but something was different. The hem was perfect, the waist had been taken in exactly half an inch, just like I'd wanted. The loose thread near the zipper was gone. She had altered it, exactly to my specifications, and then she had left it on her own doorstep, in the cold, like she didn't trust herself to hand it to me. A note was pinned to the inside, her handwriting, worse than before, letters sliding off the lines. You looked so beautiful. I didn't want to forget. I read it 3 times. It didn't make sense. None of this made sense. Why would she write that? Why would she leave the dress outside? Why was her handwriting so wrong? Matteo read the note over my shoulder. He didn't say anything. We drove home in silence. The dress hung in our closet, perfect, altered, ready, and I couldn't stop staring at those words. I didn't want to forget. Forget what? Chapter 3 The cancelled appointment. 9 days until the wedding. I called the bridal shop first thing Monday morning. Aisha answered. I need to confirm my final fitting, I said. Wednesday at 2. Typing sounds, then silence. Ms. Park, I'm looking at our system. Your fitting was cancelled. Cancelled? By who? It says here. Leah Park. Last Tuesday. My blood went cold. That's impossible. I never asked her to. She called and said you changed your mind. She rescheduled for the following week. The following week is after my wedding. Aisha's voice got quieter. I'm so sorry. We had no way of knowing. She had all your information. Of course she did. She'd memorized it. Every date, every detail. She hoarded information like weapons. Can you fit me in before Saturday? More typing. We have a slot Thursday at 4. It's tight, but we can make it work. Book it. I hung up and threw my phone on the couch. This was sabotage, pure and simple. She couldn't control my wedding, so she was destroying it piece by piece. I drove to the shop. Aisha met me at the door. She was tall, with kind eyes and braids pulled back in a neat bun. She looked nervous. I pulled the original cancellation form, she said. I thought you should see it. She handed me a piece of paper. My mother's name, my mother's phone number, but the signature. I stared at it. The letters were all wrong, shaky, uneven. The L in Leah looked like it had been written by a child. This isn't her handwriting, I said automatically. But it was. I knew it was. I'd seen her signature 1,000 times. It's just wrong. Aisha nodded slowly. That's what I thought too. She pulled out another paper, a tag from the dress alterations. Look at this, she said. She signed here on the 5th, and here on the 8th. 2 signatures, same name, completely different handwriting. The first one was normal, confident, clean. The second one looked like someone had tried to copy it from memory, and failed. Ms. Park, Aisha said carefully, is your mother okay? The question hit me wrong. What do you mean? I've seen this before. My grandmother, before she got diagnosed. The word hung in the air, unspoken. My mother is fine, I said. Too quickly, too sharp. She's just trying to mess with me. Aisha didn't argue. She just handed me the papers. Keep these, she said, just in case. I sat in my car for 20 minutes. The papers were on the passenger seat. 2 signatures, 1 person. Like watching someone split in half. I thought about calling her, demanding an explanation, but what would she say? More excuses, more blame, more "you're too sensitive," and I was trying to help. I was done listening. That night, I showed Matteo the signatures. "See?" I said. "She's playing games. She probably faked the bad handwriting to make me feel guilty." Matteo held the papers up to the light. His face was hard to read. "That's a lot of effort for a guilt trip," he said. "You don't know her like I do." "I know." He set the papers down. "But what if it's not a game? What else would it be?" He didn't answer right away. When he did, his voice was careful. "My uncle had early onset dementia. He used to do things like this: cancel appointments, forget conversations." His handwriting changed. I felt my jaw tighten. "My mother doesn't have dementia. I'm not saying she does. I'm just saying, she's sharp as a knife. She remembers every mistake I've ever made. She quotes arguments from 15 years ago. Trust me, her memory is fine." Matteo raised his hands. "Okay, you know her better." We dropped it. But later that night, I pulled out the papers again. The shaky signature, the cancelled appointment she didn't remember making, the note on the dress. I didn't want to forget. I shoved the papers in a drawer and turned off the light. Chapter 4: The Disconnected Call. 7 days until the wedding. I broke my own rule. I called her. She answered on the 6th ring. Her voice was strange, slower than usual. "Naomi, you know exactly why I'm calling." Silence. Then "What day is it?" "Tuesday, Mom." "It's Tuesday. You cancelled my fitting. You took my dress without asking. You're trying to ruin everything." More silence. I could hear her breathing, uneven, confused. "The dress," she said finally. "I fixed the dress. You had no right to touch it. The waist was wrong. You would have cried on your wedding day. I couldn't let you cry." Her voice broke on the last word. For a second, she almost sounded like a different person, fragile, lost. Then she caught herself. "You're being dramatic," she snapped. The old sharpness was back. "You always make everything about yourself." "Me? I'm dramatic?" "You're the one who what? Who fixed your dress? Who spent 3 days making sure every stitch was perfect? Who stayed up until midnight because you're too proud to ask for help?" "I didn't ask for your help." "You never ask." Her voice cracked again. You never." She trailed off. The line went quiet. "Mom?" "Nothing." "Mom, are you there?" When she spoke again, her voice was different, small, confused. "Who is this?" My heart stopped. "It's Naomi, your daughter." A pause. Then "Naomi's at school. She has a test today. I need to pick her up." I was 30 years old. I hadn't been in school for over a decade. "Mom, it's 2024. I'm an adult. I'm getting married on Saturday." Silence. Then, like a switch had flipped, her voice changed again. "I know that," she said coldly. "I'm not stupid. Stop testing me." "I'm not testing you. You just said I was at school. You forgot who I was." "I didn't forget anything. You're twisting my words. You always do this." The gaslighting, the deflection, the instant rewrite of reality. This was the mother I knew, the one who made me feel crazy for trusting my own ears. "I'm done," I said. "Don't call me. Don't come to my fitting. Don't come to my wedding. Naomi." I hung up. Then I blocked her number. Matteo found me crying in the bathroom. He didn't say anything. He just sat on the floor next to me and waited. "She said she didn't know who I was," I whispered. For a second. Then she pretended it never happened. He put his arm around me. "Maybe she's scared," he said. "Scared of what?" "Of you seeing her like that." I shook my head. "She's not scared. She's controlling. There's a difference." But the words felt hollow now. At 1143 p.m., Matteo's phone buzzed. He was already asleep. I reached over him to check the screen. One voicemail, unknown number, but I recognized the area code, my mother's landline. I pressed play. Her voice filled the dark room, quiet, trembling. "Hello? Is this the..." A long pause. "I'm at the store." "No, The street. I was going to the store but I can't find. The signs don't make sense. Another pause. Breathing. Shaky. It's cold. I'm cold. I don't know how to get home. The message ended. I sat in the dark, the phone hot in my hand. My mother didn't get lost. She'd lived in the same neighborhood for 35 years. She could walk those streets blindfolded. But her voice in that message didn't belong to the woman I knew. It belonged to someone afraid. Someone very, very lost. Chapter 5 The Perfect Mask. 6 days until the wedding. Mateo went to find her. Let me go, I said. She's my mother. Exactly. If she's confused, seeing you might make it worse. I wanted to argue, but part of me was relieved. If I saw her lost and afraid, I would have to feel something, and I wasn't ready to feel anything but anger. He came back 3 hours later. His face was pale. He sat down at the kitchen table without speaking. Is she okay? She was at the shop, working, like nothing happened. Did you mention the voicemail? She said she didn't leave any voicemail. She said she was home by 9. He rubbed his face. But Naomi, the shop. You need to see the shop. What about it? He pulled out his phone, showed me photos. The back room of Park's alterations. I'd been there 100 times as a kid. It used to be neat, organized, fabric bolts sorted by color, patterns filed by season. Now it looked like a conspiracy theorist's lair. Post-it notes covered every surface. Yellow, pink, blue, hundreds of them. On the walls, the mirrors, the sewing machine. Lock door at 6. Naomi's favorite color is green. Bank pin do not forget. Breathe. Smile. Don't yell. I zoomed in on one near the mirror. Naomi is 30. She is getting married. His name is Mateo. Be happy for her. My throat tightened. There's more, Mateo said. He swiped to the next photo. A calendar on the wall. Every day filled with tiny handwriting. Appointments, reminders, names, and on every single day, the same note in red ink. Don't tell Naomi. I couldn't speak. I found this under the register, Mateo said. He set a folder on the table. Manila envelope. No label. I opened it. Inside a letter from a neurologist. 3 pages. Medical terms I didn't understand. But 3 words I did. Early onset Alzheimer's. Suspected. The date on the letter was 8 months ago. I sat with that letter for a long time. 8 months. She'd been hiding this for 8 months. Every fight we'd had. Every cruel word. Every moment I'd thought she was trying to control me. What if she was just trying to hold on? I remembered the phone call. The way her voice had flickered. 1 second sharp, the next confused. The way she'd said, "Who is this?" Like she genuinely didn't know. Then I remembered the notes in the shop. Don't yell at Naomi. Smile. Be happy for her. She was coaching herself, giving herself instructions, trying to be the mother I needed, even as her brain was failing. And I had cut her out. Mateo sat beside me. What do you want to do? I don't know. We could postpone the wedding. No. The word came out fast. She's been planning for this, working toward it. If we postpone, she might not. She might not remember. I couldn't finish the sentence. Mateo took my hand. Then we don't postpone, but maybe we let her back in. After everything I said. After I blocked her? She doesn't know you blocked her, or she forgot. He said it gently, but the truth of it cut deep. My mother might not remember that I'd abandoned her, and I wasn't sure if that was a mercy or a tragedy. Chapter 6 The Hidden Records. 5 days until the wedding. Aisha called me. Ms. Park, I found something. Can you come to the shop? I was there in 20 minutes. She met me at the back entrance. In her hands, a small envelope. This was inside your dress lining, hidden in that little pocket where the ribbons were. I took it. My hands were steady. My heart was not. Inside a folded letter, a business card from Chicago Memory Care, and a thin notebook. The notebook cover said, "For Naomi when I forget." I opened it. The first page was dated January 14th. 8 months ago. Today the doctor said a word. I don't want to write it. If I write it, it becomes real. But I need to write things now, before I lose them. I'm going to give Naomi the perfect wedding. She deserves that. She deserves better than me on a good day. So I'll give her my best day, every day until she says I do. I won't let her see me break. The handwriting started neat. By the end of the page, it was already starting to slide. I read the whole notebook in Aisha's office. 47 entries. Some were just one line. Others filled whole pages. Entry 23. Naomi called. I said the wrong thing again. I meant to say her dress was beautiful. I said she looked fat. The word I wanted was gone and a bad one came out instead. She hung up on me. I don't blame her. Entry 31. I went to the fabric store. I stood there for an hour. I couldn't remember what I needed. Blue ribbon. That's what I needed. For her dress. To remind me where the waist adjustment goes. 3 knots. 1 for the seam. 1 for the hem. 1 so I don't forget which dress is hers. Entry 38. She blocked me from the wedding group. I saw Mateo's mother post about napkins. Cream or ivory. I wasn't part of the conversation. Good. If I'm not there, I can't ruin it. But my chest hurts. I had to stop. Aisha handed me a tissue. I hadn't realized I was crying. There's one more page, she said softly. The last one. Entry 47. 2 days ago. I'm going to put this notebook in her dress, in the hidden pocket, so she finds it later, maybe at her fitting, maybe after the wedding, maybe years from now. I won't be able to explain by then. The words are already leaving, but the notebook will explain for me. Naomi, if you're reading this, I wasn't trying to control you. I was trying to remember you. Every ribbon, every stitch, every fight I started so you'd stay away long enough not to see me disappear. I'm sorry I couldn't be soft. I was holding on too hard. I love you. Even when I forget your name, I'll love you. The blue ribbon is my last knot. Find it, and remember me. I drove to her shop. The lights were off. The closed sign was up. I banged on the door. No answer. I called her landline. 16 rings. Nothing. I called the neighbor, Mrs. Kim from the flower shop next door. Have you seen my mother? She left about an hour ago. Seemed confused. She was carrying a dress bag. I asked if she needed help. She said she was going to a wedding. My wedding was in 5 days. Which direction? Toward the main road. She got in a taxi. I knew where she was going. Chapter 7. The Translation of Cruelty. I drove to the wedding venue. The whole way, I read her words in my mind, translating every fight we'd ever had. You look fat in that dress. She'd meant you look cold. Are you eating enough? You're going to ruin this. She'd meant I'm scared you'll fall. I won't be there to catch you. You never listen to me. She'd meant I can't find the words anymore. Please hear what I'm trying to say. I don't need your help. She'd meant I can't let you see me fail. Every sharp word, every cutting remark, every time I thought she was trying to tear me down, she was trying to hold herself together, and I had let her shatter alone. Mateo met me at the venue. She's not inside, he said. I checked everywhere. The back, the parking lot. She'd want somewhere quiet. We walked around the building, past the garden where we'd planned to take photos, past the little gazebo where Mateo had proposed, and there, behind the catering entrance, in a dark corner where the delivery trucks parked, my mother. She was sitting on the concrete, her back against the wall, the garment bag across her lap like a child. She was crying, not loud, not dramatic, just quiet tears streaming down a face I barely recognized. She looked so small. I walked toward her slowly. Mom. She looked up. For a terrible second, I saw confusion in her eyes, the same blankness from the phone call, then recognition, a flicker of light. Naomi. She said my name like a prayer, like she'd been trying to remember it all day and finally found it. You came. Of course I came. I sat down next to her on the cold concrete, the garment bag between us. I brought your dress, she said. Her voice was hoarse. I was going to steam it, make sure there were no wrinkles, but then I couldn't remember where the steamer was, and then I couldn't remember where I was. She laughed. A broken, wet sound. I'm losing my mind, Naomi. I'm really losing it. I didn't know what to say, so I said the only thing that mattered. I found your notebook. She went still. I read all of it, I said. Every page. Tears slid down her cheeks. She didn't wipe them. Then you know. I know. I didn't want you to know. Not until after. Not until you were happy and married and safe. I wanted to give you one perfect day before. Her voice broke. Before I forgot who you were. I pulled out the notebook from my bag, opened it to the last page, read the words out loud. I wasn't trying to control you. I was trying to remember you. My mother closed her eyes. Every time I yelled at you, she whispered, it was because the gentle words were gone. I reached for kindness and all I found was fear. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I took her hand. Her fingers were cold. Then, when had she gotten so thin? I thought you hated me, I said. I thought if you hated me, you wouldn't miss me when I was gone. We sat there in the dark parking lot, two women who had spent years fighting each other, finally sitting still. I miss you already, I said. She squeezed my hand, then let me stay, for as long as I remember how. Chapter 8 The Last Preparation. 4 days until the wedding. I moved back home, not permanently, just until Saturday. I told Mateo I needed to help her prepare. The truth was simpler. I was afraid to let her out of my sight. The house was different than I remembered. More notes. On every surface. By the door keys on the hook. Always. By the stove turn-off burner. Check twice. By the phone Naomi's number. She loves you. She built herself a paper memory. An external brain made of sticky notes. It's gotten worse, she said when she saw me looking. Faster than the doctors expected. Why didn't you tell me? You were already so angry. I thought if I could just hold on until your wedding, you could have told me. I would have understood. She smiled. Sad, tired. Would you? 8 months ago, when I told you that bridesmaid dress made you look pale, when I criticized your centerpieces, when I called Mateo's mother to suggest better caterers, I flinched. I remembered all of those fights. The rage I'd felt. You would have thought I was making excuses, she said, using my diagnosis to escape accountability. And maybe I was afraid you'd be right. We spent that night going through her closet. She wanted to pick her dress for the wedding. Something simple. Something she could put on without help if she forgot where she was. We settled on a pale blue dress with a wrap waist. No zippers. No complicated clasps. Blue, she said, holding it up to the light. Like the ribbons. You tied them so you'd remember the measurements. I tied them so I'd remember everything. Every stitch I made for you. Every fitting. Every time you spun in front of the mirror and looked like a princess. Her eyes went distant. When I forget everything else, I want to remember that. My daughter. Spinning. Happy. I hugged her. She smelled like fabric softener and green tea. The same way she'd smelled my whole life. You'll remember, I said. I'll help you remember. Thursday was the final fitting. I brought her with me. Aisha greeted us at the door. Her eyes went soft when she saw my mother. Mrs. Park, it's good to see you. My mother smiled. For a moment, she was herself. Charming, sharp, the woman who could sweet-talk any vendor into a discount. Thank you for taking care of my daughter's dress, she said. I hope my alterations were satisfactory. Aisha glanced at me. I nodded. They were perfect, Aisha said. Every stitch. I tried on the dress one last time. My mother sat in the viewing chair, her hands folded in her lap, her eyes bright. When I stepped out of the dressing room, she gasped. Naomi, just my name. But she said it like she was seeing me for the first time. You're so beautiful. I turned slowly, watching myself in the 3 mirrors, the ivory silk, the vintage lace, the perfect waist, and inside, hidden against my skin, the blue ribbons, 3 knots, still there. I want to keep the ribbons, I said. My mother's eyes filled with tears. They're supposed to be hidden. They're just reminders for me. They're reminders for me now too. I touched my waist where the knots pressed gently. Something blue. Something borrowed from you. She stood up, walked to me slowly, put her hands on my shoulders. I'm going to forget this moment, she said. I can feel it already starting to slip. The details, The light. Your face. Then I'll remember for both of us. She kissed my forehead, the same way she had when I was 5, when I was 15, when I was 20 and leaving for college. My daughter, she whispered. My beautiful girl. Chapter 9. The dress speaks. The morning of the wedding. I woke up at 5 a.m., couldn't sleep, too many feelings with no place to go. The house was quiet. I checked on my mother. Her bedroom door was open. The bed was empty. Panic hit fast. Mom? No answer. I checked the kitchen, the bathroom, the back porch. Nothing. My phone buzzed. Mateo, she's here, at the venue. I should just called. I drove in my pajamas, broke 3 traffic laws. The venue parking lot was empty except for one car, Aisha's. I ran to the back entrance, the same door where I'd found her 4 days ago. But she wasn't in the parking lot, she was inside, in the bridal suite, standing in front of the full-length mirror. My wedding dress was in her hands. Mom, she turned. Her eyes were somewhere far away. I need to finish the alterations, she said. The bride is coming soon. My heart cracked. Mom, I'm the bride. She stared at me, searching my face. Naomi? Yes, it's me. Recognition flickered, then faded, then came back stronger. Naomi, yes, I know. She shook her head hard, like she was trying to clear it. I'm sorry. I woke up and I couldn't remember where I was. I thought I was late for work. I thought, it's okay. It's not okay. It's your wedding day and She stopped, looked at the dress in her hands, at me, at the room around us. I'm ruining it, just like I was afraid I would. I walked to her, took the dress gently from her hands, laid it on the sofa, then I wrapped her in my arms. You're not ruining anything, I said. You're here. That's all that matters. She cried, small, quiet sobs against my shoulder. I wanted to give you a perfect day. I don't need perfect. I need you. Aisha helped us get ready. She did my makeup while my mother sat beside me, holding my hand. Blue ribbon, my mother said suddenly. I looked at her. I tied 3 knots. In your dress. Do you remember why? I hesitated. I didn't know if she was testing me or asking genuinely. To mark the measurements, I said, so you wouldn't forget. She smiled. A real smile, clear and present. Yes, but also because 3 is a good number. Strong, like a braid, like a family. She reached into her purse, pulled out a piece of blue ribbon. I made 1 more knot. For today. She took my wrist, tied the ribbon around it. A simple bow, tight enough to stay. Now you carry me with you, even when I can't walk beside you. I looked at the ribbon, felt its gentle pressure. I'll always want you beside me. I know, but just in case. The ceremony was small. 50 people, mostly Mateo's family, a few friends from work. My mother sat in the front row, blue dress, blue ribbon on her own wrist. When I walked down the aisle, I watched her face. For a moment, just a moment, she looked confused, like she wasn't sure where she was or why. Then I smiled at her, and something shifted. Recognition, love, memory. She smiled back. I know you, her eyes said. I know exactly who you are. After the vows, after the kiss, after the applause, I walked straight to her. Mom, she stood up, took my hands, looked at my dress. The ribbons, she said, still there, all 3, and the 4th? I showed her my wrist. She touched the bow, her fingers trembling. I wasn't trying to control you, she said. The words came slowly, but clearly. I was trying to remember you. I know, Mom, I know now. She pulled me close, held me tight. Today is your day, she whispered, and I remember everything. Chapter 10. The new place for forgotten things. 6 months later, my mother moved in with us. It wasn't a decision, it was an inevitability. The shop closed, the notes stopped working, the days started blurring together, but some things stayed. She still remembered how to sew. Her hands knew the stitches even when her mind forgot the pattern. She still remembered Mateo's name. Most days, she still remembered mine. Always. I kept the dress in our closet, not stored away in a preservation box, hanging, visible, where she could see it when she wandered in during her confused mornings. "That's a beautiful dress," she said once. "Whose is it?" "Mine. You altered it for my wedding." "I did, yes. Feel inside. The blue ribbons." She reached in, found the knots, touched them one by one, and slowly, like watching a photograph develop, recognition came back. 3 knots, strong like a braid, like a family. "You remember?" She smiled, faint, tired, but real. Some things the hands don't forget. "On our 6-month anniversary, I did something small. I took a piece of the dress, just a scrap from the inside hem, a section with one of the blue ribbons. I framed it, hung it in her room, where she could see it from the bed. Underneath, I wrote, 'For the woman who tried so hard to hold on.' 3 knots for the measurements, 1 knot for today, and all the love you sewed into every stitch. I remember, even when you can't." Matteo found me crying in front of it one night. "It's beautiful," he said. "It's not enough. It's exactly enough." He put his arm around me. "She knows you love her. She feels it, even when the words are gone." "How do you know?" "Because every time you walk into the room, she relaxes. Her whole body softens. She doesn't remember your name some days, but she remembers how you make her feel." I leaned into him. "I spent so many years being angry, and now you're not. Now I'm just sad." "Sad is okay. Sad means you love someone enough to miss them before they're gone." The last clear day came without warning. A Tuesday, nothing special. I was making breakfast. She was sitting at the table. "Naomi." I turned. She was looking at me with eyes I hadn't seen in weeks. Sharp, present, completely herself. "Mom, I need to tell you something, while I can." I sat down across from her, took her hands. "I was so scared of being a burden," she said. "So scared you'd spend your life taking care of me instead of living. That's why I pushed you away. That's why I hid." "I know, Mom, but I was wrong. Being loved isn't a burden. Letting someone love you isn't weakness." She squeezed my hands. "You taught me that. These last 6 months. Every time you were patient with me. Every time you didn't get angry. Every time you showed me the dress." Her voice cracked. "I didn't deserve you. Stop. I was a hard mother. I know that. I was critical and cold, and you were trying to protect me, in your own way." She shook her head. "I was trying to protect myself from losing you, but I almost lost you anyway." I reached up, touched her cheek. "You didn't lose me. I'm right here." She smiled, and for that one morning, she was my mother again, fully, completely. We sat together, ate breakfast, talked about nothing and everything. By afternoon, the fog had returned. She asked me where her shop was. She couldn't remember Matteo's name, but I held onto that morning, that one clear hour. It was enough. It would have to be enough. The night before our first anniversary, I put on the dress, just for myself, just to feel the ribbons against my skin. Matteo found me standing in front of the mirror. "You look beautiful." I wanted to remember how it felt. How does it feel? I thought about my mother, about the notebooks and the notes and the ribbons tied so tight, like being held, I said, by someone who loved me enough to fall apart quietly. She died on a spring morning, peaceful, in her sleep, the blue ribbon still on her wrist. I didn't cry at first. The grief was too big for tears. But later, when I was going through her things, I found one last note. It was stuck to the inside of her sewing kit, written in handwriting so shaky it was almost unreadable. "Naomi had a perfect wedding. I was there. I remember." Below that, in slightly clearer letters, "She looked like a princess. My daughter, spinning, happy." I framed that note too, put it next to the piece of dress, and every time I look at it, I remember what she taught me. Love isn't about being perfect. It's not about saying the right thing or never making mistakes. Love is about holding on, even when you're slipping, even when the words are wrong, even when you're so scared of being a burden that you'd rather disappear than ask for help. My mother held on for as long as she could, and when she finally let go, I was there to catch her. Some days I still reach for my phone to call her. Some days I forget she's gone, But then I touched the ribbon on my wrist, the fourth knot, the one she tied on my wedding day, and I remember, not the perfect mother, not the difficult mother, just the mother who loved me so hard she tried to sew it into my dress. 3 knots for the measurements, 1 knot for always. That's enough. That's everything.
Thanks for listening. I hope this gave your heart a quiet moment to rest. See you next time.